Hello gamers, today I'm going to talk about something that is kind of important to me in my journey as a gamer, or at least a PC gamer. But just because this game is important to me doesn't really mean it's a good game, and I don't remember if this game is good or bad. It's been quite a while. But anyways, as you could probably be able to tell by the gameplay and the title, that game is 2013's Tomb Raider. So the first question that I'm going to answer is, why is this game so important to me? And it kind of has very little to do with the game itself, as around the time of the game's release I was slowly moving away from console gaming and over to proper PC gaming. And I say proper as I had a laptop that I used to play Minecraft, SWTOR and Gmod on, but this was me getting a gaming rig that can play some real games. At least for 2013. It probably struggles to run modern day Minecraft now. And Tomb Raider was the first ever game that I got to play on PC, excluding those other three. I don't even remember why, as I'm not a massive Tomb Raider fan. I had played games before, but not all of them. But I clearly enjoyed this game back then, as not only was it the first game I got on PC, but it was also the first game I completed on PC. So let's start off by talking about the game's movement and control schemes. So, this being my first ever time playing an action game with the WASD setup, / mouse and keyboard in general, I do remember struggling a bit with the controls, but after replaying the game today, I still struggled. But not because I'm bad, although I probably am, but the game had a habit of getting Lara stuck mainly on gaps between walls or roofs where a mini sort of cutscene had to play of Lara adjusting into the position. Also, I've just got to jump in here because I know I've been called out for my pronunciations before. I don't know if it's Lara or Laura. I don't know, I'm going to say Lara because that's how I've spelt it and that's how it's spelt. I know they say it differently in this game, but listen, that's just the way I'm going to say it, okay? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Maybe don't hate the game though, we haven't done talking about it yet. But basically, whenever this stuck animation happens, you just have to walk backwards and back into the trigger point to fix it, making the game feel a bit more sluggish than it probably would have been if that didn't happen. And then there are some annoying things, like during the game you can use a bow to attach rope to certain attachment spots on a wall or a door, which then gives you the option to either pull it down, or you could attach a rope to be used as a zip line. You just need to be standing next to an anchor point. I found it very annoying whenever I was 1 centimeter too far away from said anchor point, then you'd have to sit through the animation of Lara attempting to pull down a mountain, which she can't do, and then have to refire the bow and arrow again, which isn't that bad. It's just a pain when you are stupid like me and do it, well, let's just say more than twice. A lot more than twice, yeah. Anyways, the next thing I want to quickly touch on is the game's graphics. Now, I'm going to channel my inner 2013 self to try to remember what he thought of the game's looks. But let's just remember, much like me now, past me is also stupid, as I thought the game didn't look that good back in 2013, especially compared to what I had been playing on the Xbox 360 back then. Now, this is probably because A, as I mentioned before 2013, I was stupid. B, my first PC probably wasn't much more powerful than a Xbox 360, they're probably equal levels. And C, the main game I was playing on the 360 in 2013 is GTA 5, which, well, we all know how good GTA 5 looks. Even back in 2013, it looked pretty good. But most importantly, what do I think of the graphics today, counting I'm running it on a PC that can also run Cyberpunk at about 15 frames a second. For the time, that being, as was mentioned many times before in this video, 2013, the game looks pretty good. Was it the best looking game around? No. Is it the best looking game in the series? No, counting future games are still used as a benchmark for your gear today. But the game captured what it was going for perfectly. However, one little thing, whenever it was raining on the island, which is a lot. The game adds like 4 raindrops just stuck on the same spot on your screen, to the point where I wiped my monitor like 3 times throughout playing this game, thinking that it was actually a bit of spit or something that's ended up on my monitor somehow. Now, something that is kind of graphics but kind of its own thing is the game's approach to blood, dirt, gore, and all that sort of stuff. The game has an absolute boner for Lara covered in blood and dirt. I think there's at least 4 separate times where Lara is forced into a lake of blood, and I have to say, she looks good covered in blood. Not because I like that kind of thing, but because the devs did a good job of modelling her in blood, for some reason. Also, you know, it's also just Lara Croft, so you know. And also, there are some pretty gruesome death scenes for Lara whenever you die in certain ways, mostly being environmental deaths. And they can be pretty extreme. The amount of foreign objects Lara gets injected into her body during the game is unusually high. But not only does her body take damage, but her clothes as well. As of course, whilst being stuck on an island in the middle of the Pacific, Lara can't really do a quick outfit change. So as she is thrown around the island, her clothes take lots of damage, ripping and tearing as she goes, which is just something I don't see in a lot of games. It's just like something fun that like makes the game feel that little bit more real. Like, as I've mentioned before in Mafia 2, how you have to go back to your apartment at the end of every day to sleep. It's like the same as Lara not being able to change her clothes because she can't, and clothes get damaged when you're falling off cliffs, going through blood lakes, and the likes. But the real question about the game is, as it was my first PC game, is it the game's story where I got my love for narrative games from? Well, no, it was Assassin's Creed 2 / Brotherhood / Revelations. But does it have an incredible story? Probably not. Is it good? Well, let's find out. So the game opens up with Lara on a boat called the Endurance looking for Yamatai, an island whose existence is questioned, most people believing it to be an urban myth. An island that the Sun Queen Himiko fled to after she was kicked out of feudal Japan for being too powerful, heading to the island with some of her loyalist followers. But Lara is out there looking for the island as her big archaeological find, as they are with a TV crew whilst on the boat. But she is not the reason they are on the boat, as the first member of the team lead James Whitman, a archaeologist who's also a TV presenter archaeologist, like, can't think of a real life example. Indiana Jones, if he was real, let's go for that. God, is there not any like children's archaeologist shows? You got Bill Nye the Science Guy, but I can't think of an archaeologist one. I guess whatever that chick's name is from Bones, but that's anthropology, that's different. Anyways, not important. You then obviously have the captain of the boat, that being Conrad Roth. There is also a ship cook, and someone who seems to believe quite a lot in Lara, that being Jonah. And then there is Sam. She is a member of the TV crew there from Whitman's archaeological show, and Lara's close friend and confidant on the boat. And then of course there is more crew, but they are not really important enough to the story. Like, some of them die for dramatic effect, but you barely knew them. Like, there's a character I believe called Grim who sacrifices himself in order to save Lara at one point. But like, all I knew about him is he steers the boat and he prefers you call it a ship, not a boat. But that's, I don't even remember if that's correct. So those are the only crew members that you need to really know about. But anyways, Lara is disagreeing with James Whitman about where to go to look for Yamatai, with Whitman wanting to go where other people have gone looking before. Lara, however, wanting to go into the Devil's Triangle, which is like the Bermuda Triangle but for the Pacific Ocean. Lara being able to convince Roth to go into the triangle, of course the ship's captain having the final say. And then as the boat approaches an island, a massive storm comes out of nowhere, taking down the boat and shipwrecking her and her crew on the island. Lara is separated from the rest of them as she arrives on the shore, barely conscious, screaming at the crew who just can't hear her until she's then taken by an unknown person. Lara wakes up in a cave with a bunch of dead bodies strung up around her in catacomb-like structures. Lara uses her brain to whip the other bodies into fire, which is able to burn the rope that she is attached to. However, sending her plummeting to the floor, getting impaled by a steel rod, quickly trying to escape the cave while being chased by the crazy man who took her in the cave to start off with, whilst having a gaping hole in the side of her body slowing her down. Luckily, getting out of the cave and being able to kill the man chasing her as he is crushed by a rock in a cave collapse. As Lara leaves the cave, she finds an old sort of small camp that her crew would have used, where she finds a walkie-talkie and some medical supplies to help with that said gaping hole in her abdomen. And she is able to use the walkie-talkie to contact Roth, who is waiting for the whole crew to make their way to him. But there is a lot of drama that happens before they get to meet up, with Lara re-meeting up with Sam until Sam is then kidnapped by some man who is a part of a religious group / cult on the island, who worship Himiko, as Lara finds out that this island is indeed Yamatai. Also, I'm probably also saying Yamatai and Himiko wrong, but once again, I'm white. I can't pronounce shit unless it's hamburger. But anyways, also the island is completely covered in shipwrecks, not just Lara and the Endurances, but hundreds of ships from years, decades, centuries past. Once Lara and Roth meet up, Roth is unfortunately injured, so Lara is sent off with a rescue beacon, sent to climb a massive radio tower which was built by the Japanese during World War II, as the Japanese have lots of little bunkers and outposts littered around the island. After climbing the tower, Lara is able to contact a rescue plane which heads towards the island post-haste. But as soon as Lara spots the plane, a storm then comes out of nowhere. Very interesting. Taking the plane down, after multiple run-ins with the religious group, Lara is able to find Sam after the plane crash, who was with the leader of the group, Father Matthias, who is trying to sacrifice her to Himiko in order to stop the storms. Lara able to save Sam as the whole group, apart from Roth and a couple others who unfortunately perished on the island. Roth obviously being the big one, the rest of them throughout the story for dramatic effect as I mentioned. But anyways, the remaining crew have made it to the beach where they see a PT boat and are attempting to fix the boat. The crew plan to use the PT boat to escape the island, but Lara wants to use it to go inland as she thinks she knows how to stop the storms. But before Lara has to deeply convince the crew, Sam is once again taken by the cult and Father Matthias, whilst Lara is off getting parts to repair the boat, making it easier to get the crew to head inland when Lara needs to fight all the remaining members of the cult and the Storm Guard, an ancient Japanese army who have somehow survived on the island way back since the days of Himiko. And they are giants who obviously used to serve Himiko. I don't know why they're giants, it's not explained, but it's not explained why storms come out of nowhere. It's just sort of magic, you know? But it turns out that Himiko has been transferring her mind from body to body as a suitable one arrives on the island. But it has been a very long time and Himiko is currently dead but still alive. You know the husks from Minecraft? She's kind of like that, but she can't move or anything. Needing a new body, that body obviously being Sam's. And the leader of the cult, Brother Matthias, or Father Matthias, I now realise I've forgotten. I'm just going to continue using Father Matthias because it sounds right. Anyways, not important once again, I should really do more research. Mainly on pronunciations, but anyways, he has taken Sam to her body to transfer the mind of Himiko in a hope that bringing her back to life will stop the storms and allow him to leave the island. which also kind of answers one of the biggest questions I have about the story's plot. Like, I get it, magic is just something that exists in the world with an ancient people knowing how to harness it. But as I mentioned before, there are a lot of World War II era buildings on this island. How did the Japanese get all those resources safely? Like, they're made out of concrete. If a boat gets shipwrecked, wouldn't the concrete just like go into the ocean, get all wet and not, I don't know, I'm not a construction person, but I'm guessing the Japanese must have revived her in order to get all the equipment to the island. But I guess it's probably a question you're not really meant to ask, but it's just something I thought about while playing the game. Anyways, Lara makes her way through the Storm Guard and the cult members to arrive at Sam. The cult leader has also started the transfer. Lara acting quickly and killing the husk that was the Sun Queen Himiko, with the cult leader falling to his death. Luckily, Lara was right, the storms lift once Himiko was killed, and the remaining crew are able to get off the island and get picked up by a tanker ship. As the rest of the crew go home, Lara has an awakening sense of adventure in herself, wanting to follow in the steps of her, at least in this telling of the story, absentee father, dedicating her life to archaeology and hunting for the hidden and forgotten cities of the world. But that's for the next games in the series. Also, I just thought about now about one problem. Also, it is shown that Father Matthias obviously knows how to work his way around the Storm Guard to get to Himiko's body. It being something I assume he has done more than once, but he never fought to try to kill her. Like, Lara didn't have any special weapons, so I'm pretty sure she just shot her with a bow, so I don't know. But before we get to comment on the next games, what did I think of this one, and how does it compare to what I thought way back when? Well, it's about as good as I remember it being. Not a perfect game, but definitely into that enjoyable fun category with a good enough story. I don't think treasure hunter games need a great story, as they can just take mythological cities and bring them to life. And also, let's be honest, treasure hunter games with Lara Croft don't need a good story. They will be played for other reasons. So in those terms, it's a lot better than I thought going into my replay for this video. As I said, 2013 me was stupid. He played stupid games like 2,000 hours in Gary's mod. I also mentioned next games in the series, as this is a reboot of Tomb Raider and it got 3 games. I think it's called the Survivalist Trilogy or the Survivor Trilogy. And it also kind of got 1 movie, but we don't talk about that movie. But at least from what I remember, it wasn't awful. However, the other games in the series, well, surprisingly, I haven't played any of them, even though I do own them, and I'm not too sure why I never played them. Because as I mentioned, back then I liked the game, I still like it now, and it being my first PC game series, maybe I would have wanted to finish said series, but no, for some reason. But hey, maybe I'll play them now and see if I was right or wrong to skip out on them. Maybe I dodged the bullet with those games and now I'm just going to jump right back in front of the bullet. But anyways, that has been my look back at a very important game for my history as a member of the PC Master Race. If you guys enjoyed this video and maybe want to see me cover the other Tomb Raider games or any other games I've covered, make sure to check out the channel and subscribe. And if you found this video enjoyable, or if you are still watching at this point, I think I've earned a little like, right? Yeah. Anyways, I have been J104, this has been Tomb Raider, and I'm out. Peace.
Making me waffles before her ballet class.
Need anything? Don't rightly know what happened to you on that island. Judging from those wounds and that look in your eyes, I'm guessing I don't want to know. Anyway, we'll be home soon.
I'm not going home.